Let's talk about the new Kaleidescape Strato V. In the past, I've made a couple of videos about Kaleidescape, one being pretty critical on the service. The more recent one, video I just put out over a month ago, and I was somewhat critical, but at the same time, I gave my honest opinion about the service as a whole and talked about the positives and also the negative, more negative aspects. I think the Strato V remedies a lot of the issues that I had with the Kaleidescape ecosystem. The biggest problem was the price of entry. I did have an inkling of that a cheaper product was in the works, but I didn't. Obviously, I didn't want to talk about it because at that point it was just hearsay. I didn't have the details. The Strato V is a standalone player that has just under a terabyte of storage space. It is about enough space for you to keep about 10 full 4K videos on it at one time. Obviously, this player comes with a lot of upgrades, shares a lot of the features that the Strato C has, except it's basically a Strato C that has onboard storage and that also can support Dolby Vision. That's one of the downsides, that I mentioned in my last video, the lack of Dolby Vision support. Even though most people that buy a Kaleidescape use the Kaleidescape in a home theater environment. Home theater environments typically have projectors. Projectors typically don't support Dolby Vision. Dolby Vision is now supported. If you have a home theater based with a very large TV, now they're becoming more affordable. Like 100 plus inch TVs have become a little more mainstream. You can buy a 100-inch TV for, I think I saw one for under $2,000 pretty recently, which was unheard of 5 years ago. That would have been a $50,000, $60,000, $70,000, $80,000 television. And TVs obviously can benefit from Dolby Vision. So obviously the price is a huge deal. This player costs $4,000. This is a huge step in the right direction. Prior to the Strato V, the barrier to entry to Kaleidescape was $9,000, which is huge money for pretty much anybody. Even if you're rich, you got to be really wealthy to not feel that sting. $4,000 is something that a hardworking person could potentially afford. If you're into movies, if you're passionate about home theater, it's an easy recommend. I paid about $3,500 for my Strato S, which I basically use to just watch new release movies. The Strato V is basically a very similar style, can be used very similarly. I think I've watched under 10 new release movies since I purchased my Strato S. So I would still have probably room on my Strato V if I had a Strato V. One of the downsides of my Strato S is the download speed. It takes about an hour to download a movie. The Strato V fixes that, and you can download a new movie in 8 minutes, 10 minutes. Even if you buy a Strato V and you don't necessarily want to build a big library in Kaleidescape, let's say you want to watch like an older movie, let's say like Interstellar, you could rent it for $8. It'll download it, you can watch it, and then after 48 hours, it just deletes. You don't necessarily need to own everything. So let's take a look at the specs of the new Strato V player, which I think is a step in the right direction for Kaleidescape. They're providing a product that a middle-class person could potentially buy. If you're really into movies and you really want to see the best version of the movie, I think this is a great option. So let's go in here. Obviously, I don't know what they're going to do with the Strato C. I would assume, given that the Strato V is basically a Strato C with a little bit of storage, I would assume that the Strato C player will either disappear or it'll be, hopefully they lower the price to maybe $3,000 or something or less. I guess one of the biggest upgrades for this player is the fact that it has built-in storage, and obviously it's the price, and it's got this new black anodized look. Obviously they're pitching it as a standalone system, so it has an upgrade. It has a new UI, which is basically is optimized for a smaller library. In other words, you're only going to have up to 10 movies, maybe 10 to 20 movies, depending on the quality that you download them in. I'm assuming most people are going to get the 4K version. Another thing to be excited about is Dolby Vision support. You're finally getting Dolby Vision support. And it does not appear that Dolby Vision support will be added to any of the older players like my Strato S. Obviously, not so important given that I have it connected to a projector, but if you're using a TV, then Dolby Vision support is a huge plus. It is long overdue in my opinion. As you can see, it has a 960 gigabyte SSD built into it. Very small, compact chassis. You know, overall, it's a very, like most of their products, they're very attractive looking products, high, you know, built very well. You're going to be able to do a lot of the things that I can do with my Strato S, like use the app, buy your movie. And obviously one of the benefits of this player versus my own is the fact that you can download the movie within 10 minutes because it has the upgraded like processor within it. It has the upgraded like network infrastructure. If you have a gigabit internet within 10 minutes or so, which is really great. And as you can see here, the specs here, it's you know, a very compact unit. It weighs about 4.2 pounds. It feels quite dense. Like my Strato S felt very dense. You could feel like the quality when you're lifting it up. It feels like a quality product, my Strato S, and you know, this sort of follows suit. It doesn't feel hollow. It feels like it's a substantial product when you're holding it. Yeah, I guess some more interesting things is the fact that it supports, as you can see, HDR Dolby Vision and HDR10. Does not support HDR10 plus. You know, I don't know if they're gonna ever support that. Dolby Vision is the HDR format that is basically one. You know, and obviously HDR10 is like the, you know, like the standard HDR format. Supports HDMI 2.1, which is an upgrade from 2.0, and it supports all these audio, which, you know, my Strato S supports the same audio formats. And so I wanted to go over some changes in the movie store. Obviously, you know, it obviously looks the same as it ever has looked, but obviously there are some differences. Now you have if you look at the movie information, you have 4K SDR, HDR10, and Dolby Vision. Big difference. So if you actually go into the purchase, I can, you know, it's going to automatically default to the best quality version that my Strato S can download. But if I hit the change button, I noticed I can select Dolby Vision, but you get a little warning triangle thing, and it says the system does not contain any players that can play 4K Dolby Vision content. You should only download this version if you're adding a Strato V player to the system and connecting to an HDR capable display. I mean, I know that Dolby Vision is backwards compatible, so, but you know, whether I may consider downloading a Dolby Vision movie and see if it can play it at all. Through my Strato S. I'm actually might consider doing that and see if any of the movies that I've already purchased or, you know, have the Dolby Vision update available. Let me go to actually my movies and see if any of them. So maybe the Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes is a pretty new movie. As you can see, it has Dolby Vision. I am going to try to download the Dolby Vision version and see what that looks like. Giving me a warning, one of the selected downloads will not be playable. You should want to download these. So it does not appear that that it'll work on my Strato S, which kind of sucks. I might try it anyway and see what it looks like. I may delete one of my movies and just re-download the Dolby Vision version and see what it happens on my Strato S. Looks like it's not going to work, but I'm going to give it a shot. One more thing to note is the download size looks like it did increase about 8 gigabytes to go from HDR10 to Dolby Vision. We got a quality bump when moving up to Dolby Vision, which is kind of cool. You know, it further increased the file by about, you know, 7-8 gigabytes. This is probably already bigger than the disc version would be, so now it's even bigger. See another one. Let's see if, you know, a rival, if there's the Dolby, you know, this one does not appear to have a Dolby Vision version. So let's go to another. How about the Bike Riders? This one does have a Dolby Vision version, and as you can see, it is. So this appears to be a thing. You know, it's like this one's 7 gigabytes bigger for the Dolby Vision version versus the HDR10 version. Oddly enough, in a lot of cases, the SDR version is bigger than the HDR10 version. Maybe SDR colors are more muted, and they need to like up the bit rate to reach their quality standards. Just a guess, not sure. Let's look at one more, and then we see the Dark Knight has a Dolby Vision version. There is Dolby Vision for the Dark Knight, which is kind of cool. And let's see, download size. Not as substantial, but yeah, another 2.7 gigabytes for the Dolby Vision version. I mean, these files were already pretty big, all of them above 80 gigabytes already. Still a bump in file size. So after I attempted to download the Dolby Vision version of Back to the Future, I got this warning that said Some titles may not download until a KOS update is installed. It says a KOS update is required to download it, and unfortunately there is no KOS update. If you hit this link, it just takes you to this website that says how to force an update. I tried this and I couldn't get there appeared to be no update, and my player hasn't been updated since May 8th, which is the last version that my player supports. But anyway, obviously, if you try to download a Dolby Vision version of a movie with an older player, it's not going to work, at least for now, unless there is some magic they can do with firmware update. For now, it appears to be limited to the Strato V. So is it cheap enough? So I want to talk briefly about price. I've made 2 videos about Kaleidescape. It's a very, very touchy subject. There's a ton of you that will never think that it's cheap enough. I would say 80% of you are probably thinking this is never going to be cheap enough. I think this is a huge step in the right direction. It's still a hard pill to swallow. Yeah, $4,000 is a lot of money. I spent over $50,000 on my home theater easily. Easily. If you're deep in this hobby and you don't have a Kaleidescape, doesn't make you less of a home theater enthusiast. It just makes you, more of a tinkerer. I fit into that category. I have a movie server that I built myself. I use a combination as I do in Plex to do all my movie watching typically, and it works great. Now I have my Kaleidescape for like new release movies, so I don't have to, I can watch the best quality version when after a movie comes out on premium video on demand. Overall, I think this is great. You got the onboard storage. This kind of opens the door to a lot of people are more casual movie watchers. Like I said in my previous video, is my Strato S enough? Would it replace my movie server that I built myself that has about 160 plus terabytes of storage? I don't know. The answer is no, it would not replace that, and I don't think it ever could. Anyway, and to replace it would be an astronomical amount of money. So I think there's still room for Kaleidescape to improve with storage prices. If they could bring down their storage prices a little bit, I think they'd bring a lot more people in. But this is a huge step in the right direction. I keep saying that because it's true. A $4,000 standalone player. This is the cheapest the Kaleidescape has ever been historically. This is only a good thing for the home theater community. And I'm just going to leave it at that. I think this is a great move, and I think it's a good product for Kaleidescape. You can disagree. You can say the 4,000 is too much. Even the service that you're getting, the quality of the media that you get, given now that you get Dolby Vision, which is a huge plus, doesn't benefit me very much in my home theater. It's a good value add to have Dolby Vision support. Now, before you say that 10 movies isn't very much, and God, it's a ripoff, and how is 10 movies not enough? I'm basically using my Strato S very similarly to how many people are going to use the Strato V. If you look at my played list, it's literally all new movies. Bike Riders, Kingdom of Planet of the Apes, If, Civil War, Fall Guy, The Ministry of Ungentlemanly Warfare, Ghostbusters, Night Swim, Lisa's Friend, all brand new movies. I haven't seen a single old movie on here. All my old movies are basically on my own network, on my own movie server. So, I'm basically using this very similar, just like a Strato V would be used. I'm using my Strato S very similarly, except I just can't download movies in 10 minutes. It takes me about an hour to get these. So a little more planning ahead. You got to do a little more planning ahead. For this use case, watching new movies, even if you want to watch an old movie, if you want to rent an old movie, you can just do that and download it in 10 minutes. And actually, I feel like it kind of works. When you have the download speed that's like 8 to 10 minutes, it's totally doable. I have a couple of questions, and obviously these haven't been answered yet. Can you pool the data? Let's say you have 3 to 4 Strato Vs. Can they all share? Can you have different movies stored on each one? Sort of pooling the data. If you have 3 or 4, that would give you about 3 terabytes of storage. Can each of them talk to each other? Can you store 10 movies on each and give you a little more flexibility? I don't know if it's going to work like that. These are questions that need to be answered. I guess they will be answered when people can actually review the units. Am I bummed out that I bought my Strato S before this came out? I don't think so. I think this fits me better. I do have a little more flexibility, so it's sort of a trade-off. My Strato S gives me 6 terabytes of storage, about a little over 6 times the amount of storage but lacks Dolby Vision support and lacks the speedy downloads that you get with the Strato V or with the Terra servers. You know, honestly, if I could go back, I would probably. I'm still happy with my decision with getting my Strato S, and that's another thing I was thinking about, that maybe the release of the Strato V, which is basically you know, a $4,000 solution, that actually might bring down the price of the Strato S's. You know, given that, you know, you can actually buy a brand new product from Kaleidescape directly, or from a seller that sort of gives you the same experience. These Strato V's are probably going to be, you know, they're going to be very robust. They don't have spinning hard drives. Spinning hard drives tend to fail. They're like the first thing that fail on one of these things. So having a solid state solution means that these Strato V's may last a long time. You know, if I ever need another player, and after I get a little more information, if I ever wanted to like add Kaleidescape to another room, I may consider getting one for the future. But I guess I would need to know whether or not the Strato V can use my Strato S as like a server to pull more movies, you know, to have more of a pool kind of thing. There's still a few questions that need to be answered, but I think this is a great product, and it's a really exciting moment for us home theater enthusiasts. It's always great when prices go down. You know, when things become cheaper and easier to get into, I think it's a great thing for the community. If you have any questions about it, or if you have any opinions, feel free to leave them in the comments. I know a lot of you guys are not going to be into it, still think it's too expensive, but this is what we have right now. And right now, this is the cheapest that Kaleidescape's ever been, and I think that's a good thing. Really helps a lot if you can like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.